Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I'm very excited to invite two guys for the first time to Juicy Scoop. Discovered you on TikTok, killing it on Instagram as well. Some people know them as the Mean Gays.
Yeah.
We have Aaron Goldenberg and Jake Jones. Say hello to the Juicy Scoopers.
Hi, Juicy Scoopers.
everybody.
We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Seriously, we're so mean and gay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you guys met and then created this, which just to let people know, they're not mean in real life. And one way
That's a good start.
But
That's a good start.
The videos are so dead on and funny, and you're basically, we'll go through all of them, but it's basically if you had two guys that are gay and you're that girl that maybe you have a lot of gay friends and they do a lot of backhanded compliments and the scenarios are hilarious and you guys have great chemistry. But one of the ways we know is that you aren't mean, and that this of course is scripted, is that you now include in your and all your content the making of the videos, which everyone loves, a blooper reel. Yeah. So how did you guys, what's your background and how did you meet? Well, first let's do how your background, because you're actors and stuff.
Yeah. So we're both based in Atlanta now. I'm from Atlanta, grew up. About 4 years ago, I was like, I kind of want to like pop my internet pussy. You know, I want to like show my personality.
Are we
off on
allowed
the
to
internet.
curse?
Oh yeah.
He said pussy.
I don't.
So, yeah.
I don't think Heather minds at all,
we can say bad words and everything. It's fine.
But yeah, so like I started doing my thing on the internet, and then I got a DM from Aaron, and he was like, "We live in the same city."
So what was the first thing you were featuring as your content?
I would say original content that like really popped off for me was I made this really silly video about Chili's Bar and Grill.
I love Chili's Bar and Grill.
It was just, I had my 28th birthday at a Chili's, and it was like kind of the first thing
in Atlanta.
That must have been, I was like, I wanted to do this huge opposition of like everybody's trying to go to like this nice bar or they want to go to this nice restaurant, and I was like, I'm white trash. I want to show the world that I'm going to fuck it up at Chili's.
You know what I love about Chili's Bar?
Girl, what?
When we were at Chelsea lately, I kept talking about Chili's, and we were trying to get to do a show at Chili's, and it never happened. Because what I love about a Chili's is it's the 5 o'clock hour. It's the happy hour, the appetizers,
the trio,
the sweetness of like a chicken soaked in like so many calories,
so much sugar,
so much fried things. I love like an exciting egg roll.
A Southwestern egg roll. What does that mean? No one knows.
No one knows. I was across the street.
It's an egg roll, but with like corn and black beans and like a Chipotle's dip.
Yeah.
And then I love like an exciting high calorie cocktail.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And you want that cocktail to be a half gallon.
Yes.
You know?
And you want it to be blue. And you want it to be blue.
So much food coloring. Yeah. I was across the street from a Chili's for like 3 weeks at the beginning of my tour. And I went there so many times. Or just like, it was so easy to like just order really quick and then bring it back to my hotel. Yeah, it was
I'm
great.
also dying that we begin this pod talking about Chili's.
Okay, so you did a bit about Chili's.
So I did a bit about Chili's, and it came across his feed, and he was like, I know that exact Chili's. At least this is how I tell the story. He always corrects me though.
Yeah.
But I think
he was like Harry Met Sally.
He was like, I know you live in Atlanta. I know where that Chili's is, but he has a totally different story.
So the story really goes, the real life way from not Jake's lying lips, is I did see the Chili's video. Somebody sent it to me. I was like, oh, this guy's funny. And it ended there. Then people kept sending me his stuff. And I was like, oh, he's funny again. So it wasn't an accident. And then one video he posted, I like paused it really quick. And I was like, his shirt says Atlanta. Does he live in Atlanta? And then realized that he was filming in Piedmont Park, which is iconic to Midtown Atlanta. And so I was like, I think this bitch lives in my city. So then I DM'd him and I was like, hey, would you, because I'm always trying to like collab with other creators, especially those that I think are funny or like LGBT and whatever. And I was like, would you want to get together and like have dinner and maybe like collab on some stuff. And that's just kind of simply how it started. Like the idea for Mean Gays wasn't a thing at that time. And
so you guys are not romantically involved.
We're not, no. But I do want to say, like, the first time we had dinner, I think you do have to scope out chemistry and say, like, if we are going to go into creating content together, there needs to be this natural cadence at least.
Right.
So we went out to dinner and it was like, wow, this is actually so seamless. That day we filmed something.
I was like, I just loved his energy and
do you have as gay men that meet and then just become platonic friends, business partners, even though that was the initial reason for meeting? Do you have a honest conversation of like, hey, hi, I'm not into fucking you. And then you go, I'm not into fucking you. And then you go, great. Or do you ever say it out loud?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it feels needed, yes. But in this situation, I think it was platonic from the jump.
Yeah.
You know, like I have been talking to somebody. I think like the opportunity hasn't really been there, all that stuff.
So you weren't like totally single to start?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Good. What a classy guy.
Hey, you know, infidelity is not really up my sleeve, you know?
Oh, I love that. Don't miss your chance to get away this season. Fill your sleigh with gifts from Way. Way's best-selling hair and body products are the best gifts for effortless routines. Perfect for you and everyone on your list. You know I love their hair oil. I also love their detox shampoo. Everybody needs it. Let's start the year off with healthy hair. Don't miss a chance to get away this holiday season. Go to theway.com for 15% off site-wide when you enter the promo code JUICY. That's THEOUAI.com for 15% off with code JUICY. Unwrap the first of many presents this season with holidays on the house from DraftKings Casino. With hundreds of games, prizes, and promos, DraftKings Casino has everything on your list. Right now, new players who play $5 get $100 instantly in casino credits. What are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Casino app now and sign up for promo code JuicyScoop and play $5 to get $100 in casino credit. That's promo code JuicyScoop only at DraftKings Casino. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsible. 21 and above. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. One per opted-in new customer. $5 wager required. Max 100 in casino credit awarded, which will require one-time playthrough within 7 days. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/holidays on the house. Restrictions apply. Now I want to know, how did the idea, because you said this, you've only been doing this for a few months.
We only met in July. Like that's when the first DM was sent. So we started off making a couple other videos. I think both of us have a shit ton of ideas written in like our notes folder of like just one sentence pitches that could be written into a full sketch.
Was your background, was there sketch and improv background? Because it's very, like Groundlings-esque kind of sketches that I love, like strong character work.
I think for Aaron, for sure. For me, I was more going for like a spicy internet personality. Like I was just trying to be funny on the internet. And what's beautiful is he's kind of like brought me into this world of,
because you're a professional actor.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I'm like segueing into that when it's right for me. I think
what was your background before meeting Aaron?
Oh my God, girl. I was like managing a restaurant, but I was just like wild and really bold.
He also was a financial advisor at one point, right?
I was an accountant for a minute, but I was just like, that was my old name.
Wait, I love that because there's one of the videos where you mistake him.
Oh, yes.
For being not white.
Yes.
For being
Hispanic,
Hispanic,
they do this one, which is so funny, where they go, the Mean Gays are doing a live and you're answering questions, which of course this is all scripted, which I love.
Yeah.
And then how does it go?
I think it basically...
You basically are like, well, it's crazy because like, don't worry, Jake's not white, because we get this comment that comes up that's like, I don't know, that's kind of racial. And he's like, no, I mean, Jake's not white. Like we're inclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, babe, no, like I'm really
something
white.
like you don't have the concept behind the joke, which is really, it's the joke that like sprouted the whole script and the whole video that we wrote that one together, because I was like, I have this joke that like I'm a white person that's like trying to have more diverse friends, and so I think you're Hispanic and that's why I befriend you, but then I find out you're white and I'm disappointed, and
we go off and we have a fight, and it's like
exactly.
So,
and that was so funny. You go off and have a fight, and then you come back and then you're reading the comments and you're like, we just heard everything you said, and they're shit. Like it's so
Shit.
And then we're trying to redeem it, right? And we're like, well, I mean, he's bald.
Actually,
which means he's disabled.
He has a disability. So actually, we do have diverse friends.
I love making fun of people that are overly righteous about minorities and they're the whitest people ever and the most privileged. And I love now that we're like 3 years out of like the worst year ever about that for good reason. I mean, but also just kind of being able to poke fun at it and ourselves and the striving of like trying to act like, you know, you have something in you. I mean, I remember.
I think if it's the intention,
yes,
like that person who I was thinking of for that skit, that fictional person, is not befriending this person for the right reasons.
Right, exactly.
And so that's what I wanted to.
That's
like if that's why you're being nice to this person,
yes,
because you're trying to be a better person, but you don't actually like them as a friend or whatever, like then that's kind of shitty. You're not being genuine.
And the reason it was written is because we've met people like that.
Oh,
we're
of course.
Trying to bring people into their circle that they don't genuinely care about, but it's an aesthetic thing. Like they're posting them on Instagram. They're like, I have this token friend of whatever caliber. It's like, this is all based on real shit we see. Like, that's why this all comes.
And that's why everyone is relating to it because they're like, oh my God, thank you. And now we've said it.
Yeah.
And as Camille Grammer would say, and now we've said it. Now it's out there. No, it's totally true. And it's just like so stupid. And I'm glad that it's like so funny. And I love there's this other girl that I just came across. Her whole series is she will put the camera on the ground and it's like influencers trying to act like they're helping a homeless person or whatever. And she puts it on there and then the next stop is that the same inspirational music and the guy talking like, and this is your time to shine. And then she gives a sandwich to obviously just she like made a fake person sitting down.
Oh my God.
And she did. I could like go through her thing and watch like 25 of them. It's the same music and it's the same joke, but it's so clever. And I'm telling you, like watch. Someone will probably copy her too, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I just want to explain. This was your a still that you did about your spirit costume for Halloween, and it's called Mean Gaze, and it includes a ball cap because you're bald.
Exactly.
One ugly, one hot. Well, I don't know which one is which, and I'm not going to say. What does it say? Refillable water cup for being thirsty, lingering eye contact, inflatable sense of self, and then step 1, make friends. Step 2, impress your friends. Step 3, make better friends. This sums it up, and that's why I wanted to start with this one because it's so funny.
It's Aaron's genius, truly.
Thank you.
He put that together and he was like, thoughts on this? I also want you to know the one ugly, one hot is based off of real internet
That's
comment
based off of a
like,
viral tweet.
That's so not about you guys?
No, not about us at all. But it's this guy, Robert Anderson. He's big in the gay world. Heartthrobber, I think, is his username on a lot of places. But
is he funny or just a hot guy?
He's funny.
Oh, okay.
He's got a bunch of really funny series. He recaps old episodes of Seventh Heaven right now as like one of his big things.
Amazing!
It's so great. But
remember Seventh Heaven? That guy was a full perv,
right?
I know.
He points it all out. He
I
points out
love
all the
bringing
discrepancies.
up like all the gross pervy.
He's like, are we not going to talk about all this old syndicated television?
That the most Christian show ever, that the actor in real life
it was one of the shows that I was
pervert.
allowed to watch as a kid. But so I'm sorry. So Robert or Rob, whatever, I'm going to start that over. Sorry. So Rob, he tweeted something about like that guys that are in a couple need to stop taking all the single guys, basically, because threesomes with a couple are, I guess, never satisfying in a certain way. There's always like one ugly and one hot, blah, blah, blah. And like, so everybody was like retweeting it. And that was one of the pieces that I guess a lot of people had.
That reminds me of when sometimes when tall girls get mad at the smalls who grab the talls. Because there's only so many tall guys for a tall girl. And as a sisterhood, you need to save the talls for the talls. And then I've had smalls.
It sounds like we're in a Dr. Seuss novel right now.
And I've had smalls reach out to me and they're like, Heather, I'm a small married to a tall. But without him, I wouldn't be able to like get anything from my cupboards or anything. And I'm like, look,
and they should have made that rhyme. But
I married him out of utility.
And I understand, love is love and threesomes are threesomes. But I agree. If you're gonna, so you're saying there's always saying if
his issue was like, I'm single. all the
I'll
other
do the
single
threesome.
guys are taken by couples.
Right.
Leave it for the single guys.
So that
was
we can
basically
match up.
That was
Stop
his beef.
grabbing
Yeah.
up the strays because there's no strays for me
Exactly.
to hook. Again, you know what?
It's a small
you
pool
have to
out
put
here.
it out there so that people start to say, what is the Christian thing to do?
Right.
Leave the
And I'm
stray
always
single
asking
for the other
myself,
single.
What's the
WWJD,
Christian
girl.
thing for the
What would Jesus do
for
in
the
this
Lord?
situation?
The Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so this is one of my favorite ones. This was,
Love the
I
screen
think this
grab of
was
this
coming,
one.
was this coming to the
As friend's sad house party.
a friend's sad house party. I
Yeah.
think, let me see. I think I have this one. Here it is. This is your right point of view. The mean gays attend your sad house party. And how did you come up with this one? Had you been to a sad house party and you needed to say it? Because I've been to some sad house parties. I've been to some that were just too many Trader Joe's snacks, and I'm a queen. I'm like a Trader Joe's too, but
Okay.
like
Yeah.
where
I was about to be like-
I was like, there was one holiday season, like in my late 20s, that was just one too many sad apartment holiday parties that
Too many
involved
singles.
Merlot
Okay.
and shitty
Trader
7-layer
Joe's.
dips and shit like that. And I was
a
like,
shitty 7-layer dip is the
this,
worst.
I go, this is a sad party.
Too much sour
7
cream in
shitty
here.
layers of 7 shitty dips. That's crazy.
And now
Yeah.
I'm gonna shit.
No,
Yeah.
this was, I have to hand this one off to Aaron. This was
Yeah.
his idea. But like I said, like when we go through these,
Yeah.
there's a level of improvising when we're like actually
of
in the
course.
house.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is my idea for it. Like, what would we actually be doing?
Yeah.
The previous screenshot is us just being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
house?" You know?
The funny thing is that is Jake's house.
Oh,
So-
yeah. And I live in a quirky house in Atlanta. My house is 100 years old. No joke. And so we're walking around the house just fully like shitting on my own house. It's amazing.
And sometimes like the caption comes later and
Yeah.
I write the script. The idea for the script was basically just like, we're going to your house that you invited us to and we just are fucking hating on it the entire time, which is such an awkward situation. Then we turned it into a sad house party and I added background music to the soundtrack.
I also love when you have whoever's filming it or whatever, who's playing the part of the other person. They're always really good too. Whoever you get for those people are like really good and natural.
The majority of them have been improv friends. So this
Yeah.
guy, for instance, name is Davey. He's got another podcast as well, Welcome to Colonel is the name. It's so funny. I've been a guest on it a few
Great.
times. It's an improvised podcast. Anyway,
Love it.
So I knew that he would be great for that. My friend Sarah, who's an actress, filmmaker, was the voice behind the baby shower one. My friend Joseph, who's another actor in town, was the voice behind like the super viral one where we invite over a third. And so yeah, it's just friends that I know that I get along with and have chemistry with and would like to film with anyway, who are willing to not be on camera and just hold it.
But I
and
need to
be a
give him
part
his
of making
props
this.
because he does direct.
You mean you need to give him his flowers?
Yeah, all of
is
the
that, That
flowers.
obviously came from the gay world, right? This is a new expression that's
I love
taking
this
over,
expression.
guys. And it's like he needs or she needs all the flowers.
He does.
And the first time I heard it, this one guy, I'll just tell you, like it was like this other podcaster guy, friend of mine. He was like in a fight with another gay podcaster guy, and we all were at the show together. And he goes, and then he walks up to me and he's like, "I just want to give you your flowers." And he tells me the whole story, and I'm like, "Well, where are the flowers?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "He said that he was here to get." No, he goes like, "No, that just meant like I'm here to give you like
Just
a
a
legit
praise.
Compliments you
compliment."
deserve, yeah.
And I go, "Oh!" So and ever since then, that was only like in September. Now I feel like I hear the flowers
Wait,
everywhere.
let me ask this. Did they just say, I need to give you your flowers
Yes.
and not follow it with a compliment?
No, he did follow it with a
Okay,
compliment.
I was like, it has
but he
to
said
come with a
flowers. But
compliment.
when
Okay.
he was relaying the story to me, and we were leaving the theater, I was like, "Well, don't forget your flowers."
Right.
And I'm imagining like some roses, baby's breath, like what my mom used to bring
Oh
me
my
when
God, I love flowers.
Yeah,
Thank
like,
you. Yes.
Yeah, when I would do like the high school play, my parents would go to the local, florist and
Right.
give me some flowers, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, no, that just means, and I was like, "Oh."
Get
Anyway,
with it.
so
Yeah.
go ahead, go back to
No,
your
but
story.
what I was gonna say is like in the moment, he is doing a great job directing me. He's
Yeah.
directing the people behind the camera. Every reaction, every like vocal tone you hear, he's got an eye for it. So
Yeah.
I think that's what's awesome is like you put the mean gaze in literally any situation. He can really come up with an amazing idea on like how to make it applicable because these mean gays are going through life.
I just realized we never got to you said you did a couple other fun things together. How did you land on these characters and calling them the mean gays?
Great question. Thank you, Heather. So I really just, the initial idea was, I thought the caption was going to be something like, your gay neighbors who you can't tell if they're complimenting you or not. Something like that, which I felt was too many words.
Right.
And so I was trying to find a different caption that was shorter. And honestly, like, I didn't think the mean gays would then become a thing. We shot 2 mean gays videos that first day, one in the gym and one on the sidewalk, where they're like walking past and like complimenting the other people on the sidewalk, and then like, you know, complimenting the people in the gym. And the first caption with those was, the mean gays tear you down with compliments.
Right.
So that's what I landed on. And then,
which is like a backhanded compliment,
right.
but
and
heightened because it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever, funny, mean gays saying it.
Somebody in PR or marketing or something, a friend of mine told me later, he was like, oh no, that was actually very, very smart for you to land on those 3 words, the mean gays. From a marketing perspective, that actually like makes so much more sense than you saying anything else about their, like, or your neighbors who like, it's specific, everybody knows these people, whatever. So I was like, great, I'm a marketing genius on accident.
Well, when I came up with the name for Juicy Scoop, the first network I was at, I met with this producer, and he's like, well, what are we going to call this? You know, he goes, is there an expression or something? And I go, oh, for years I've said, what's the Juicy Scoop? Give me the Juicy Scoop. Bam. And so then that happened. And then I actually had someone else who was pretty successful tell me about a year later, that name isn't good. You should have called it like Heather's Hollywood, or say Heather McDonald in your name. And for like a couple of years, I was like, oh, you're right. Maybe my name would have been bigger because the podcast is so big. Maybe people would know who Juicy Scoop is if it was Heather McDonald's Hollywood or whatever. And now, of course, I'm so glad that it's Juicy Scoop. And I've actually had later on network people say, it's very easy to sell advertisers on your show because they know exactly what the show is. It isn't like, you know, it isn't like Draperies in Love. And you're like, well, what is that? You know, like,
what is that
like
about?
sometimes you're like, what is that? You know? And so it's like, I think that is, sometimes you just kind of get lucky. Yeah. And it really seems to work out.
Yeah.
I think,
I
think also like just the fact that it's the mean gays, a lot of people, I think, assume that we took inspiration of that, like from The Mean Girls, which is obviously a very famous franchise and movie and musical and all that. And we didn't. It was really just meant to be our thing, and then it kind of has the same letters, but it wasn't in any way like inspired by or trying to copy that or whatever.
The other thing is, I feel like this is kind of an interesting time in history for you guys to crack open the egg that there are mean gays.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That there are
the ones we've all met.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone has really recognized it. And I think, you know, there's been such an alliance between women and their gay friends. And some gay friends are extremely loyal and fabulous. And then I've often said that one thing about gay men is not all gay men are monogamous, and not all gay men who have their gay female best friend are monogamous to that girl. But we think, because most women, straight women, are monogamous, they think, oh, this is my gay best friend. Yeah. And he's so wonderful to me. You know, the best thing about having a gay best friend who's male is you get all the benefits of having a man around. You know, he's a gentleman. He helps you out with stuff, but he doesn't want to fuck you, and you're not going out for the same guy. So sometimes with 2 girls that could be best friends, there's a little bit of competition. You're at a bar and the guy's talking to both of you, but you have the gay best friend and he's just your bestie, right? So that's the most beautiful relationship there is.
It's the truest intention, right? Like, we are platonically just aligned. And
however, some of these gay men can have lots of chemistry with lots of fabulous straight women. Yeah. And all of a sudden you see that maybe as a straight woman, you're not that special, because all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, he's laughing and going out with this other girl. And so there's that. But then I also think there's an element of how sometimes gay men, just like any kind of man or woman or whatever, can be really fucking mean and plotting and awful. And when two psycho means get together, when two means get together, you know, like, you know, my sister's a criminal defense attorney. And one time she said, I never want to introduce these two people because if they get together, they will try to destroy someone.
I gotta say, I've been so shocked that you say that. I really thought this would resonate a lot with gay men. But what really started happening was this started to resonate mostly with women. And the women that fall in love as friendships and have those best friends with gay men. Because maybe it's not their gay best friend, but the gays that they're associated with, they come into a party, they step into your house, and it's this catty, passive-aggressive speech. And these women are like, what did I do? And it's like, actually, the sad truth is there's a lot of catty speech that happens in the gay world. And these straight women or just women in general, they're maybe not as used to it because they're used to more direct communication on all that. So it's like, it's heartbreaking to hear you say that because I like to think I have phenomenal girlfriends, you know?
I still think it's all great. I love exposing and having people realize it doesn't mean anything. It just means that it's fun that we could talk about it, joke about it, and be aware of it, of something that for so long it was always, you know, all gay men are the, you know, the pillar of morality, of friendship. They're the greatest things. And it's like, they're just human too. Just like there's shitty doctors and shitty lawyers and shitty politicians. There are some shitty gays. There are some shitty gays that are not,
funny. I never thought about that.
That don't have your back, that actually don't really care about you. And so I experienced this year with two really good gay male friends of mine.
Yeah, give us the juicy scoop.
That it is out there, but they got together and they plotted to like destroy me and my career and everything. And at first I thought one was influenced by the other, and then I realized no, the main, more successful gay took the other one down who was close to me to try to destroy what I built here as a single woman. And I have exposed it to the point where I need to still get on with my life and be funny and everything. But I do want people to have their eyes open
of course,
about certain people. And I think too many women are so infatuated by a strong, charming, funny gay guy. And they're able to be friends with them. They're able to listen to their life and they think it's all great. I'm just saying, like, you can hate that person. And then another time you're like, well, just be on, just look at someone's history and look at what they do and look at how they're speaking to people. And you're a woman and you should be also a little more protective of your female counterparts.
I think one thing, just in friendships in general, so not specific to gay men, but I think gay men love to gossip. You know, and one thing I've tried to remind myself is like, you might think you have a fun one-on-one exclusive gossiping relationship with this one person.
Yes.
But if they are gossiping about everybody else
oh my God,
to their other friends, they are gossiping
warning
about
signs.
You bitch. So
especially what the content of the gossip is, right? You can vent. Venting can be different than talking shit.
Venting,
right?
asking for advice, like, hey,
these issues
something
with my
happened. Can I run this by you? I want to know how to like bring up the conversation. I have those kinds of conversations all the time with my roommate, and my other best friends. Like, you know, this thing is really bothering me. I don't know how to sort through this. But if it's just like always talking shit about somebody,
you gotta watch out.
They're doing that to you as well.
Signs.
And then I realized that one of the mean gays and one of the girlfriends that I'd met through the original mean gay that I became friends with, the two of them were talking. I could tell we're talking,
like,
talking
I'm
shit.
Cheated on.
That's exactly how I felt. And I have never been cheated on. So I never knew what that was like. And now I understand, now that my trust in people and friendships have been like, I look back and I really, I don't know. I really feel for anybody that is able to forgive someone like that, because I'm like, I can't. Like when I know that this is like, I'm looking back, I'm like, did you even like me? Like, what was this? Like, and what the fuck did I do? It's crazy.
That in a friendship is very different than experiencing that in a romantic situation. Because you sex almost is a tempting thing.
And you almost expect more from your friends.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And
when you really shouldn't. And then and then you throw in Hollywood with it and thirsty podcasters who, you know, and then on top of it, it's not just getting on the phone now and talking shit about your friend. It's now going on your show and exposing every conversation you ever had with your friend for clicks and all that kind of stuff, which is not how I've run this business for 9 years. And I'm like, now everybody's kind of copying the formula. And I'm like, you know, I want to make friends in this business, but I'm also shopping for friends that don't have a podcast. And my friend goes, good luck.
Or social media or the whole nine.
It doesn't exist.
I have guys all the time, like, you know, either that I hook up with or having conversations with on dating apps. And maybe they say something awkward or do something awkward. And then they're like, oh God, you're going to make a video about me, aren't you? And I'm like, no, probably not.
No.
That's not my
MO.
This person I haven't met or barely know, and not where I get my inspiration from. I'm just a artist who likes to write, and I usually get my inspiration from random things. It's not always a real life conversation, or I think like, oh, that would be funny, and then it kind of like elaborates from there. So
I think like hearing your story, has our content triggered you from this recent experience? Because now I'm like, now you've dealt with mean gays in real life.
Well, I think it kind of all started with my girl Jennifer Coolidge, who I love so much, who I had a conversation with her right after we finished. She finished all the episodes aired of White Lotus. Is why
what a time
I
for
think
her.
Why when she goes, these gays are trying to murder me.
Preach.
I think that's when people were just, I was like, God, why do people think this is so funny? And then shortly after that, all this stuff, you know, happened to me. And now I think people are more, and then your thing happens. So I think it's kind of like a perfect timing of just being aware, calling it out.
These gays are
There's nothing wrong. It's, you know, it can be fun.
Can be the villain in a hit HBO show as well. They don't have to be like the funny, sassy best friend
exactly.
all the time.
Like, I honestly would rather play a villain.
They could be murderers too.
Yeah. I was once told years ago, before I lost the hair, a friend of mine was like, please don't take this the wrong way. And I feel like you're going to, but you would play an excellent psychopath. And I was like, and I did take it the wrong way. I was like, what do you mean? I'm the ingenue. I'm the good guy. I'm a nice person. And then as I got older and like, you know, matured in my acting and all that, I was like, oh no, it's really fun to play shitty ass people.
Oh yeah. And there's complexity up the ass when you
there's
play a
trauma.
villain. Like,
there's,
it's
you know.
juicy.
No, I love all that. This holiday season, hopefully you're going to be with some loved ones. Maybe you're hearing this story again from your grandmother and you're like, oh, I love hearing about how you came to America. And I bet you'd really would love to get those down in a document, those timeless stories. But it can be challenging to write an entire book of life memories. But with Storyworth, make it fun and easy. This is how anyone can write a book about their life. I love this so much. Every week, Storyworth will email your loved one one single life-related question that you pick from the collection. Like, what was the bravest thing you've ever done? What was the farthest you ever traveled? All they have to do is reply to the story. Then after a year, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories, memories, and even any photos into an exquisite hardcover book, creating valued keepsakes. I mean, I wish I had this for when my parents were still on earth. They would have absolutely loved it. It would have absolutely been the gift I would give them in a hot second. So help your family share the story this holiday season with Storyworth. Go to storyworth.com/juicy today and save $10 on your first purchase. That's STORY Worth, WORTH.com/juicy to save $10 on your first purchase. Storyworth.com/juicy.
I know that Jake said that it's resonated with a lot of women. I think like at Atlanta Pride, for instance, it was just the last big gay gathering that I had been to. So many people said things like, thank you so much for like finally calling it out. Nobody's talking about that. And I didn't really understand because I feel like
that wasn't the intent, right?
Yeah,
like, it was just to make people laugh.
Literally like,
just a
this would be a funny
character.
scenario. And this is like close enough to real life, you know, sort of situations that I've either heard about or have happened to me or that I've been on the other side of. Like, this would be cringy. I love making stuff that you can, like, can't look away from. Like it's so cringe to watch, and you're like, oh no, I can't believe they said that. So yeah, that's kind of the intent with a lot of them. Is just like, how can we put them in the worst scenario? But I also like you said earlier, I feel like these characters can go anywhere, whether it's like a real life situation or like we've done a few that are much more fantasy.
Well, let's go through some of them.
Yeah.
Please.
This is point of view, the mean gays attend your baby shower.
Yes.
And
this one hit for a lot.
Yeah.
I remember I was with my stepdaughter. This was so long ago. And I went to my friend. I knew her from the Groundlings. And she was also a facialist at Ulla Henriksen, which is like a famous place. And there were like these Beverly Hills women, waiting to get their facials. And I brought her just to say hi. She was only 3 at the time. And I didn't even tell my friend Robin I was going to do this, but she walks out. And I'm like, hi. She's like, hey. And I go, so, I told you about my daughter and she's 3. And as you can see, I notice when she laughs, there's some crinkling happening here. And she's going for it. And these people in the place are like, and I go, so I don't know, what kind, if we could just do like a quick facial, maybe some oxygen steaming, And I'm like, I don't think we're ready for Botox yet, but I think like preventive.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And then finally we were like, we're joking.
That's amazing.
But I thought that was so funny because in one of the jokes in here, you were like,
talk about the baby skincare.
Yeah, the baby skincare is something that, is very serious. And it was just
that was good.
And I also love that like men, have so many female friends, but still they don't really understand. Like I don't, even like with my sons, when I remember one time I was like, I said to my older son, I'm like, I have to leave the water park. I need to get a tampon. My younger son didn't know what it was. And he's like, what's a tampon? And my older son goes, it's like a Band-Aid for your vagina. And like so loud. And then there were times where I was like, finally, I'm like,
Band-Aid.
As we talk about women reproductive rights and stuff, I'm like, it's really important that my sons know that like
works.
we have a period for 40 years.
Yeah.
For 40 years that we have to buy tampons for and pads that are not provided for free. And I'm guaranteed that if men had it, they'd be in gas stations, take as many as you want and that kind of thing. And so I think even with gay men that are so sensitive to women, because they still don't know like what goes on or how the baby, and like neither do my kids, because it's just like you only talk about it to your daughter.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so funny putting them in these situations with their girlfriends. They just don't know what's up.
They don't. And then like our characters act like they do, right?
Yes, yeah.
They're like,
so confident.
I know your beauty standards. Like the gay beauty standards are crazy. When in reality, they don't even align.
Yeah.
The fact that women have to face like all these beauty standards, it's not like there's no similar approach with that. Men have it breezy.
We can walk outside without a lick of makeup, not wear makeup in any of our videos, and nobody will say a goddamn thing about it.
For real.
Yeah.
But if a woman, God forbid, filmed herself without makeup, it becomes a thing.
Right. But when you were saying getting ready for things, like that's another thing with like stand up and stuff. Because like my husband would be like, oh, Joe Coy. And I'm like, Joe Coy is bald. Joe Coy just has to put on a cute
and she looked at
outfit.
me when she said that.
He's bald.
You don't have to do your hair. You don't have to do lashes. You don't have to do lashes. You don't have to do anything. And that's the difference when you're like a female comic too. Like I think about my outfit. I think about I have to do my own hair. I have to blow it out.
Yeah.
If you pay somebody to do your glam, whatever.
I don't pay anyone. I just do it myself.
Even
most of the time.
Clothes in the business place. I think about that all the time. I've worked in a variety of settings. And I've noticed like, the men can wear the same thing every week.
Shit.
Yeah.
The women have so many
like
different outfits.
Or like just you're an anchor.
Yeah.
A man's in a suit every day and
Same
the girl is like, and I'm like,
Same suit,
I've
different
seen
tie.
that weather girl's orange dress before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's stupid.
Like I think about the stylist or the wardrobe department for like the presidential office.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so the first lady, mostly the first lady, and then the president, has his own stylist. And you're like, why?
Also,
it's a suit every day.
The president,
Just
nobody's
figure
going to
out the
notice
suit.
if they wear the exact same thing.
But the first lady,
First lady,
let's
they
go.
will.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's I think about that way too often, actually. Yeah.
This one was mean gays invite you over to have a little fun. This is really fun. So this is like two gays that are like, hey guy, come over, let's play.
Yeah.
And you're, a little disappointed in what shows up at the door versus the
Full-fledged catfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
idea.
What do you say to the guy?
So
It starts off with, hey, come in. Do you want some water? And he's like, oh, no, I'm okay.
just pure apprehension the
Yeah.
whole time, right? Like hesitation
Yeah.
and like, I don't think,
I think,
you know.
I think it's one of those situations where like, and I've been in this where I decide immediately when I see someone, oh, we're not fucking.
Okay, so
But
what
you're already, you came all this way and now I feel awkward
what do you
shutting
do?
the door on you.
I need to know.
So maybe come in for a second, then I'll like lead you out the door in 5 minutes when you notice I haven't kissed you yet.
Okay,
And,
so
like,
how do you do that in real life when you're
Jake's not much of a hookup kind
I'm,
of guy.
I'm not, but
Yeah.
the truth is I'm a very direct person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I won't tell somebody like, I'm not attracted to the way you look. I'll be like, something's just not feeling right.
Yeah.
And I'll put it that way. But I'm a very quick like, yeah, the vibes are not right, babe.
Trust your gut if you're feeling like something's off,
Also, like a silver lining can occur where it's like maybe they're not creepy, maybe we definitely don't have sexual chemistry, but I actually just met a best friend.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it can
100%.
turn. They walk in the door, you hear their voice, and you're like, so no longer sexually attracted, but our conversation's lit, and we just became best friends.
Yeah, my friend,
Like,
that's
one of my
what's
best
nice
friends.
about I
Yeah.
think like gay relationships and stuff, because with a girl and a guy, either the heterosexual traditional relationship is like either the guy's going to be really offended or the girl's going to be really offended, and there's no real. They're not going to be friends. You know what I mean? They're either going to be felt like they were strung along, or
Sure.
or you know what? Girls are always like, just be honest. And then when they're honest and they're like, sorry, I wasn't attracted to you. It's like, hi, I want to warn people about Jake.
Yeah, literally.
Jake, who lives in Atlanta, and he acts
There's
like
Facebook groups, baby. Like,
he acts
trust
like
me.
he acts like he has his shit together. He's rolled up in a
my God.
Honda, and we got together twice, and then he just fucking ghosted me. So I want to warn you guys.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God. That's why I
Yeah.
think a lot of straight guys will do whatever it takes to have the girl break up with them. I don't think they ever want to be on the bad guy in
Interesting.
2023, 24 with the power that women have to like make you look like the worst human walking on the earth.
I was about to say, I know people shit on straight men all the time these days, but I do
I have two of them, so it's
and
unfortunate.
they
So sorry for you.
they will get their flowers when they deserve them.
They
But
will get their
I do think I think straight men and
Yeah.
their erections make it hard for women and
They do
straight
make it
men
hard.
to have platonic relationships.
Right.
Like they are sexually tempted more often than women, I would say. And I think there's a lot of cool straight women and straight men that could have awesome platonic relationships, but it's not as often because out of nowhere, a guy would be like, this connection's actually kind of lit. And then all of a sudden he's sexually aroused. And you're like, no, this is supposed to stay platonic.
I had a platonic friend for like a year at this awful job. I was awful at the job, and he did all my work for me. I was an assistant buyer at a department store, but it wasn't like fashion. It was just like a bunch of computer shit. I didn't know what to do. And he was straight, and we were besties. Why not, right? Yeah. And talking about my dates, we have so much fun. We'd laugh about like Friends or whatever was on TV. And then one day we're talking on the phone, and he only lived like 15 minutes away, and we like hang up, and I'm just like, whatever. And he shows up at the door, and he's like, I guess a little buzzed. And it's like out of a movie. I'm going to declare my love for you
That's
and
what I'm
like
saying.
try to make out with me. And I was such a bitch. I laughed in his face and was like, are you kidding me? Like, and then I look back as the girl, and now like having sons, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope some girl doesn't do this to my boys. But as the girl, be aware of these like these friendships and giving signals, and be respectful, because the guy probably is hanging out with you because he is attracted to you and wants to make out with you.
I think I really respect. There's a friend of mine, Keith, who probably he's straight, married. He probably has the most platonic girlfriends out of any straight guy that I know, and I loved seeing that because it's such a
I love it.
It's such a unique thing.
Yeah,
I think
it
like
is.
they'll hang out one-on-one, and like, but he and his wife have such trust, and also like,
Well, he's married, so
He's
that
married.
changes it a little bit too. I think it
Yeah.
is very different when a single
They have-
straight man
Sure,
has
sure.
platonic female friends. You know what I,
think,
mean?
I
Like,
thi-
even
think
so,
you-
I think
I
when
think
there's
you
trust,
can-
security,
Yeah.
and there's not like a constant drive or motivation for like, I'm only speaking to you and befriending you because sex, and so then they read every signal as, oh, she's flirting because she smiled, she laughed at my jokes. Like, no, she just enjoys your company because you're
100%.
maybe a nice person, and she's being a nice person. My roommate is gorgeous, and
Gorgina.
people assume that she's flirting with them all the time. I'm like, no, she's just
Really
charismatic
hot.
and really hot and smiled because
yeah.
she's nice.
Yeah.
She's a good person. So
But I bet people say that about you all the time. But you're married, so there's this like obvious divide, right?
Well, it's like I think even throughout my time there would be comedians and stuff that male comedians, and I was so grateful that they'd walk me to my car from the improv so I wouldn't be mugged.
That is nice.
They'd give me tag jokes, but then they would want to try to fuck me. And then but then I have had a
Sorry,
couple
boy.
then I've had a couple, also in the comedy world, and I can have really good friends, like Ian Edwards that just had the wrong day and showed up on the
Yeah.
same day, and also Chris Frangiola. I don't think
Love
they were
Chris.
ever attracted to me. And we had such a fun relationship because of comedy. So I do think you can have
They
a
exist.
work-like thing and it not be that. But it just is a very interesting thing. And you can't really, what I think is just exploring people's different, sexualities and relationships
Yeah.
is there are some similarities, but mostly they're very different. There's different rules. There's different things about it. And I think for a long time, did you see the movie Billy Eichner did?
Bros,
Bros.
I saw it.
I did as well.
I saw it, and afterwards I told Billy, I go, what I liked most about the movie is that you said it out loud. Our relationships are not the
different.
same
Yeah.
as a heterosexual
Correct.
relationship. And I think for too long in the acceptance, which has been great for like the last 30 years, I think girls want to think that it's the same or something. Oh, we have all these similarities. Oh, we like the same kind of, and that's fine. We can have similarities about, partnerships and stuff, but there's a whole different ecosystem. Like there's a whole different thing that just
1000%.
does which I think is just so interesting to like explore and talk
And
about.
there's a lot of gays that need to accept that as well because
Yeah.
they want this heteronormative looking relationship. And it's like, you have to remember, we are two men, we are different. We are not going to replicate this female, male, conditioning from all this media we've seen our whole life. It's not going to be a Hallmark film for us unless we like make fake snow and like throw it on the ground.
Unless you're
it's
Jonathan
like,
Bennett and produce your own Hallmark
yeah,
films.
and then it's still a gay Hallmark movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you're very right.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why I like that movie. But also, I think there's female friendships are just like a very unique thing, and I think what's great about men is, and maybe this is with gay men too, I would assume, is they treat it differently. They aren't as sensitive. They can get over stuff. They can like not talk to them for a few years, and it could be okay. And women just get so like, how could that be? How you were my best friend, and now it's so weird, and I feel so, you know what I mean? It's just a whole different thing, which I find so
I think it depends
fascinating.
on the person. I definitely have those people that like I go months without talking to, and then we pick right back up. But then there are people where I'm like, why haven't we even talked in a week? Is something wrong? Is something,
Well,
like,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think going back to something earlier, I think there are those gay men who, the majority of their friends they've had sex with at some point because everything started off as a Grindr hookup or a dating situation and then became friends. And then there's people that like have friends who, oh no, like that's off limits. That's my best friend. I think that's where a lot of my friendships fall into, even some of them where I'm like, dang, if they gave me an opportunity, I'd say yes, even though we're friends. I don't think it would ruin the friendship, but
Right.
one of my good friends, one of my best friends in Atlanta, it started off that way. He came over, we just like connected on Instagram, and it was a situation where I thought I was catching signals of like, oh no, this is going to be a hookup, and he's very handsome. And I realized that he wasn't reciprocating any of the like little shoulder things that I was doing on the couch. And so finally I just checked in. I was like, hey, are we not? And he's like, I really think you're a great guy and I would like to be your friend. I think we have a lot in common. I was like, okay, great. And I just felt like it's such a mature
the segue
moment
to
situation.
a platonic situation is a lot more seamless for us, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, we still need each other. Like, our community is so small. It's like, if you see somebody of value, you're like, I still need you, you know? Like,
I'd rather not fuck this up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can walk into any Starbucks and meet a straightie, you know?
Yeah.
But like...
Yeah, and of course with women and, you know, women and men hooking up and stuff, it's very rare that they can stay friends after. And then the next person is like, you're not fucking having lunch with your ex-boyfriend, or there's no way that this girl is coming over or is coming to our wedding that you lived with for 3 years.
Totally.
Like, enough. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And 90% of heterosexual people would be like, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that exists in the gay world too. The last guy I dated for a little bit, which we had only been seeing each other for a week at this point, but his best gay friend was coming over for a movie night. I thought nothing of it, but he sent me like this whole paragraph of like, hey, I just want to make sure that you know, like, this is totally platonic. He and I have never hooked up. We're just having a movie night. And I was like, oh, okay, we're not even official yet. Like, thanks for telling me. But also it made me feel sad for, I guess, his previous relationships where maybe there was like a shit ton of jealousy.
Yeah, someone probably was super jealous.
Like, oh my God, you can't have another gay man inside your apartment. Like, that kind of control, I think, is...
Yeah.
I also try to like hold things loosely and not like until it's a thing that I really want to hold on to. And I hadn't decided yet at that point. And
good for you.
You know?
I can get
for
cash
you.
for me.
Also, before we move past this
yes.
slide, can I just point out the fact that it says Trixie Mattel at the top?
Yes, we love Trixie.
I think it's just because I look like her.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Do you get that?
All
I
the
didn't know
time.
that.
Just because we're bald, white, gay men. But I'm sure out of the 11,000
beautiful,
comments,
baby.
probably 2,000 of them say Trixie.
That's
question
How
mark.
did you guys come up with the
Girl,
Just from us
tone of voice.
goofing
We
around.
wanted to be as
Yeah.
bimbo as possible, but like a gay bimbo. So it's a mix of like a Kardashian, but like gay male Kardashian.
I also think the is at the person a lot of times as well. Like, oh, you're single? Like,
You know.
it's
Yeah. I love it
elongates
so
the
much.
insult.
This is
Yeah.
one of my favorite. This is Mean Gay's Toast at Your Wedding.
I
this
love your
is
eyebrows
so
there.
hilarious. So it's you guys are doing a toast for a female friend of yours who you never thought would get married. So it's all
We're not a fan of
Michael.
her husband. Yeah.
and you keep messing up the M name of the husband. It's so fun. I love it. Okay,
Yeah, this
so
one's really cute.
Okay, can I ask you to do one for me?
Please.
Of course.
Okay, so I
See how we
invite
both
you.
sit up.
I invite you to my vow renewal, which I've never had.
Okay.
I'm going to have it.
Is that actually coming?
I mean, I think vow renewals are so lame,
Okay.
only because any friend that I
Has
would
one next year.
anyone that comes to my vow renewal, it's like different than a wedding. Because in a wedding, someone's coming and you're like, oh my God, you guys are so cute together. I'm so excited for your future. A vow renewal, anybody that's there is like either like, thank God you guys made it. Or
Sure.
they're like, this is a bunch of bullshit. They fucking hate each other. So I just think that's weird. Like if we did anything like that, I'd want it to be like just my immediate family.
Okay.
But in this case, I'm going to have a big to do. And it's for our 24th wedding anniversary. I'm not going to wait till 25 because the world might end.
So true.
And I'm really excited to invite you guys to make a toast.
What's your husband's name?
Peter.
Peter. Great.
Okay.
So Paul, I mean, what is
Pedro.
it? Peter. It's just, we are honored to be here today to celebrate something that I think you guys just wanted more security on, such as your relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Not everyone does a 24-year wedding renewal, but you guys had an idea and you went for it, and that's so brave.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's beautiful that you feel like you need to prove something to all of us that your relationship is super healthy and secure, when really, I would say Paul, what's his name? Bitch. Pablo. When your relationship with Pablo is just, we see the things behind closed doors because we're so close.
And Pasquale, you really bring a lot of the You really bring a lot more personality to Heather because she, as we all know, is lacking in that department.
Yeah,
so
we can tell you both really need one another.
A big part of her personality is just saying that she's married, and so.
But Heather and
keep that in mind.
Heather and Paul, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, good luck. We wish you the best, and we will see if we see you next year.
Thanks, Brian.
Excellent.
That was off the cuff. We tried to improv that, baby.
I will say that I have joked and said staying married is my brand. And a lot of people don't. And
do it for the kids, you know.
I do. I do it to give other people hope to stay married. Because anytime a big couple breaks up, they're like, no, like Kyle and Mauricio of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. People are like,
everybody gets devastated.
We're done. We're done. We thought you were going to live forever and stay together forever.
I do think if Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively ever broke up, my
the
heart
world would be
shatter.
rocked. The economy would tank.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's a lot of pressure on them.
It is.
Oh, it is.
What if she's miserable and then she knows that you guys are going to be devastated?
With Ryan, let's be real.
Well, also, like, celebrities at that caliber too, like, they don't, unless they are traveling with them.
Let's be real.
Well, I'm saying unless they're traveling with them, you see each other 1 month out of the year total. Like, he's always off filming a movie, so is she. Like, everybody's doing their own things. Like, I don't know.
I think their marriage is much better than Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. I'll give them.
Let's hope.
What about Scarlett Johansson and what's his name?
I know from Colin.
Yes.
I like them.
I think they're solid. They have a kid, right?
Sure.
I also think that was like an unthought of connection that nobody really saw coming.
I just want to look at Aaron Goldenberg White. I just want to look at all those.
All I did on the TikTok is I just wrote mean gays and then all of it stopped. But so
it gives suggestions for like what it thinks the video like related terms might be. So I'm obsessed with that.
Unwrap the first of many presents this season with Holidays on the House from DraftKings Casino. With hundreds of games, prizes, and promos, DraftKings Casino has everything on your list. Right now, new players who play $5 get $100 instantly in casino credits. You can try all the classics like slots, blackjack, and roulette. Download the DraftKings Casino app now and sign up with the promo code Juicy Scoop and play $5 to get $100 in casino credits. That's promo code Juicy Scoop only at DraftKings Casino. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsible, 21 and above, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, only void in Ontario. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. One opted in new customer, $5 wager required, max $100 in casino credit awarded, which require one-time playthrough within 7 days. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/holidays on the house. Restrictions apply. Everybody wants to get away, but what about your hair? Maybe it's time that hair gets away too. And by way, I mean, come on, fill your sleigh with the gifts from Way, because their best-selling hair and body products are the best gifts for effortless routines, perfect for you and everyone on your list this season. I've talked about the hair oil. I absolutely love it. I actually look forward to washing my hair. Well, first, I love to use their detox shampoo because I use a lot of products in my hair and I go a few days without washing it. And then this really just helps detox my hair. And then I use their leave-in naughty conditioner that helps with the frizz and the tangles and the flyaways. And then I love that hair oil. It is just such a fast fix to make your hair feel healthy and helps with split ends. So go to theway.com for 15% off site-wide when you enter the promo code JUICY. Don't miss your chance to get away this holiday season. Go to theway.com for 15% off site-wide when you enter the promo code JUICY. That's THEOUAI.com for 15% off with the code JUICY. So this one was Mean Gays Come to Your Funeral. I really want to talk about your costume choices.
I was about to say the wardrobe department on this one was...
You went with a great look, which is a blazer, no shirt.
Thank you so much, yeah.
And you look like you created a shirt that had cleavage.
So what's crazy is that shirt was bought. Yeah. That was a shirt for sale. It's made for men.
Is it in the men's department?
It's made for men. And my breasts look huge. I
Your
look
breasts
like,
are
I mean, not in
huge.
this photo, but like once I get closer,
Yes.
it was, we could not keep a straight face because I was just like, I was given the full show.
The bloopers are full of Jake going like, "Oh my God, I look ridiculous."
It was
And
just
I, like I said, I love the bloopers, but doing a funeral is so great. I worked on this show called Lyricist Lounge, and I came up with this idea because I found that like one thing I loved doing would be like when I was a little girl and just normal TV was on. And this is, there would be like a funeral for like a cop or something like on the KTLA 5 channel. And I loved watching funerals. I loved hearing all the speeches. I loved it.
How old were you?
I was like 6. I watched a lot of TV. My
That
parents
explains a
worked.
lot.
And I was like,
6-year-old
I want to
watching
be.
funerals.
So I created this character with this other guy who played my gay assistant. And we did this and I was a funeral stylist. And I was like, let's do the music. And we're like, we're not doing Stairway to Heaven. It's been way too done.
Too many times.
We have not doing that. We're going to do something fresh and different. And da 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 da. And so I love people making light of like the worst thing on earth,
literally.
which is
Yeah.
death. And so the
Horrible.
fact that you did like an open casket and you guys coming and the camera is looking up from the dead person and you're still giving shade. So funny.
I'm so glad you think so. This is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I just
How
think
did you think of this one?
Honestly, it was just a day where I was typing out, like just kind of brainstorming all the different possibilities of like where we could take these characters, and funeral came up. I was like, that's fucking hilarious. I need to write this immediately. And yeah.
Do like we were talking about, it's Octopussy, right? With that the guy on TikTok, is that his name? The one that does all the like historical things.
Pass that puss. Pass that
Wait,
puss.
I don't think
Isn't
I
it
know
Pass
this
That
guy.
Puss?
It's
And-
Pass that puss.
And they're like, they'll say like, act like you're John. Act like you're the person signing after John Hancock and how much space he took. And then he
really
does, but
funny.
he does it as like a person today.
Yeah.
Like so annoying. Like
Yeah.
it's really, really funny. He's blown up.
He's like,
but
I'm sorry, there's actually just no space.
yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And like, or like Abraham Lincoln buying his signature hat,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
first there's another hat, and then how he falls on
He
it.
literally just does. He does
is
video.
genius.
It's
But
brilliant
it's a
because
lot
he
of
does say-
suggestions.
It's he takes suggestions from
from the
comments,
people. So
and then
how
he'll
are
make
you
a video
starting
off
to
of
get
that.
suggestions that have given you any ideas of like, we want to see the mean gays go to visit Santa or whatever?
There are a fair amount of like suggestions, like, oh, the mean gays should babysit or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, and there have maybe only been 2 comments ever in all the videos that have like really
Gotten, oh, that's a
sparked
good
my
idea.
imagination.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's really fucking
Yeah,
funny.
that's smart.
But I don't think we've gone on to like then make that video. I'm not against it, but it's also like, I mean, when you get to 4,000 comments, there's no way I can scroll and read and
Right,
respond
right.
and really take all those in.
Okay, that's like so conceited.
Yeah,
but all right.
I just like
I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
Also,
okay, girl,
I'm sorry to
shit.
get to 4,000 comments. you
also
can't
those
expect.
comments are just on Instagram. That's not even the TikTok comments.
Oh,
you know? So
right.
it's just
But I
a
get-
lot of
Right,
people.
yeah.
I feel like we hear a
responding
lot
really
of
well.
suggestions from like close friends.
We do,
A lot of
yeah.
close friends will be like, you should actually do this. That'd be amazing.
And close
Yeah.
friends, so Sarah, the girl that was behind the camera for the baby shower one, I had written it out, but she came out with like several good pitches for like brand new scenes that we had
Yeah.
planned for, and we did them because I was like, that's fucking funny.
Yes.
We're open-minded girls. We like to improv on the spot. Like
Yeah. Well,
if
I
we
think-
deliver a line and we need to retake it, or it sounds better and it'll hit harder a different way,
Yeah.
we just go. Yeah.
Why I love like discovering when people are doing strong characters, like a series like on TikTok, and I've brought several people on the show because of it. Because it's like that's really was my background. Is Groundlings was like these strong characters and point of view and stuff. And
I'm sorry, did you go to Groundlings?
Yes.
You've only mentioned it a couple
I know
times. So
I
just
do
wasn't
mention I
sure.
mentioned Groundlings, USC, being
Yeah.
Catholic and
Yeah.
being married,
being married.
Every
oh,
show.
you're married.
Love.
and everyone
Congrats.
really.
Do you ever time how often you say it? And
No, but the haters they like to, but then
they were like 30 seconds in on this one.
No, the haters are the best because they're like, when I come across their hate on their groups or whatever, they'll be like, I don't listen anymore to Juicy Scoop, but at the 36 minute, she went off and tried to take credit for this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
You definitely don't listen.
Anyway, but I did this character. Now, it's another thing I talk about is Chelsea Lately. So when I did this character, Chelsea Lately, it was Chelsea's makeup artist. And we'd be on the road and I would just be like, she is a know-it-all. She's like this woman, but like she's lived this life that there's no way she could have done all these things. So then...
Like very much giving Alexis from Schitt's Creek.
Yes. And so I was like, so then they'd be like, oh, Kathy Griffin is coming. Or I did it one time with Kelly Osbourne. And I would do her and I called her Regina and her real name was Gina. And then like Chelsea's like, I go, Chelsea, like, this still is your makeup artist and still someone I'm dealing with. And she knows I'm doing her. And so I'm like, she's like, I don't care. It's fucking hilarious. And
that's why I fuck with Chelsea.
And then I'm like, so then I'd have to do it. And I'm like, actually, to Kelly Osbourne, I was like, I actually wrote the song, whatever the most famous song was. I was like, yeah, I was hanging out with your dad. Yeah. I could have been your mom. So can you show a little respect? And Kelly Osbourne's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like,
yeah.
And I'm doing like a horrible makeup artist. I never am doing anything to their face. And I'm just like talking about, I'm actually like almost a heart surgeon. I went to medical school and like that kind of thing. And I think that's what's so funny when you land on something good. Or Becky Robinson, she does this thing called The Entitled Housewife. And she is like this woman who plays golf, who's definitely an alcoholic and has 2 kids. And I love her. She's going to come on the show. She's a really funny stand-up. But then she started doing this character. She had these other characters she did. But sometimes something just hits. Yeah. And it's cool because then with her, there's a huge audience. Like if she goes to Florida, all these women come and they wear the visor and they wear their golf outfits. And they're so like, we all have to go. And so that's why I think it's fun what you guys are doing.
I'm so glad. That's cute.
I love that this girl wrote, I found one of the mean gays, and this was Fashion Week or something. Someone was trying to get in, and the gay bouncer or whatever this person was.
I don't remember what happens in this video. I just know he like is telling her off. And like checking her
I remember it was pretty vicious.
Oh,
and I was like, ooh.
It went very viral.
I was like, you really found this video. Love it.
Yeah, it's so funny. And then there is a point of view, the Thirsty Gays invite you over for some fun. Now, I thought these were some of your friends that you like helped help produce this for them. Like a little extension, a little empire.
A little Ryan Murphy franchise.
Universe.
So one thing I've noticed with all these great creators like yourself and creative improv character study people is I've noticed people are doing like derivative type of stuff. Like a girl that's now holding her keys, but she doesn't work at the restaurant. She's an obnoxious teacher, something like that. And that's coming from another girl that was the girl working at the restaurant, whatever. Have you found that there's anybody that's kind of doing derivative people of you sketches?
We've been either sent or seen on our timelines, definitely like people that have either done like their own spin on it, or like there was one guy that did it, the complete script, but just in Portuguese, which obviously would be for a brand new
really
audience
cool,
that we're not reaching. So I think sometimes,
but that's not cool, right?
I think sometimes it is flattering, or like I'm like, hey, a new audience is getting that.
Stitch it. Wouldn't it be the proper way to stitch it?
Or hopefully at least tag and give credit.
I think that's the biggest thing.
This was so cool. We wanted to translate this for other audiences.
Okay. All right.
For me, I think the
biggest thing is giving credit. I think if anybody on TikTok or Instagram or wherever made their own like the mean gays blah blah blah, I would be like, hey, that's kind of our thing. Clearly our thing. We've made like 20 videos at this point. Maybe come up with your own idea. I don't know. But I think the line gets so blurred on social media, unfortunately, because there's so many things that come out as like a trend. So like somebody did the joke first and it's to like a 5-second music clip and it's this very funny punchline. And then 10,000 people do that same thing. And it's like, oh, you did the water challenge or whatever it is.
Right.
So people then see these original, written sketches and like, oh, this is like the mean gays trend or the whatever trend. It's like, well, no, actually this is a little bit different.
Like, I mean, it really is like the wild west of like, entertainment. It's really hard. And also, even with stand-up, it would be people would accuse someone of taking their jokes, and you'd be like, well, I mean, we can all Tinder is a big topic. Like maybe my Tinder joke is similar to yours.
I've heard very clearly word for. I'm sure we all have verbatim jokes. And I'm like, that was this guy first.
There's that,
I've
and then there's other ones.
done it myself. Where I've like
explain accidentally.
Well, okay, I will. So I've actually posted a video talking about straight men are so gay for like loving football and going into stadiums and watching guys wrestle in leotards. Yeah. I fully put the video out. I had never seen content like that before. And then there was a stand-up reel that came across my page pretty much going into the same concept. And it's the idea of like, these thoughts are no longer that original, and we're struggling for these threads of originality and the crossover of like, I'm so sorry. So I commented in the video I saw, realizing it was posted before mine, saying like, I'm so sorry. There's a video on my page that performs pretty well. This was truly out of like just innocent intent for me to speak to.
I think hot take things like that. Yeah.
Well, they never got back to me because their video was huge. And I don't think it was ever an issue. But when you do come across ideas that are similar to yours, such as like a lot of people are playing on like this Hallmark trend recently, right? And it's like,
which also people have been joking about Hallmark movies for like 7 years, literally. Yeah.
And how many different ways can you do that? Can you really blame somebody for playing on the classic tropes and like kind
or
of
saying almost the exact same line? Yeah.
So like, it's a wild, wild west.
I've had that happen before though, where some big historical event happens, or like, especially during the Trump administration, there was like material for days. And like, I would think of this joke from from an interview or something that happened and be like, oh, that'd be funny. Maybe I'll film that tomorrow. And then tomorrow, when I haven't filmed it, I see a guy with the exact same video concept. And I'm like, oh, it really just is about who jumps on it first.
Yeah. Right. Which why it is important to jump on it first if you have the idea.
Timing's
there's times where I'm like, oh my God, I know so many people are going to do that. And sometimes they don't, but that's, what is true. And I also feel that like what I've learned, and thank God I'm like a creative person, whatever. And I have gotten frustrated with, the imitation or whatever. But at the same time, it's like when you do get to a certain level, and then you call out like a smaller creator, it can also make you look really bad.
Yeah.
And it's almost better just to be like, whatever.
I've let most of them go. Yeah. I DM'd one creator because it really was joke for joke, our video, and they just put a slightly different twist on it, but it was joke for joke, angle for angle, everything. And they didn't credit us. So I was like, hey.
And what was the response?
As a fellow writer, blah, blah, blah. You guys did a really funny thing. I would just appreciate if you decide to do anything more with these characters, that maybe it's an original concept and not shot for shot our thing. And they responded back in a nice way, thankfully. It was pretty amicable. And they were like, I'm so sorry. Like, we literally didn't even know this video was going to blow up. And yes, don't worry about it. Like, I'm going to credit you right now in the comments. And also like, any new videos, if we decide to do these characters again, will be something original.
It is just sometimes frustrating when somebody
but I DM'd them. I didn't call them out in public. I didn't make a post about it and be like, well, somebody, I feel like that
is
can
a classy
come across
way.
Tacky in.
But then on the other
end, if you guys ever need to do something more, you could just create classy gays. It's a classy move. I don't think it'll be as funny as Mean Gays. I don't think it'll be as funny. Watch, it won't. And then you'll have to go back to the Mean Gays.
I think it would be
like we tried to clean up our act and we called it Classy Gays.
I did a character that was like just the rich gay uncle, and I was like super affluent and just making the most just ignorant comments of all time, and that was really cute.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll play on that a little bit more, but I think the idea is like, hopefully the original intent and all this is you just giving like, this idea kind of felt in the vein of like, for me, I've made a few videos that are in the vein of Benny Drama or Benito Skinner, who I adore.
Yes.
And I think because I adore him so much, I've made content that is kind of a little bit of
similar.
And I always just say like, this feels really in the same vein. It's out of love, but I always credit it. So it's kind of like,
and I've told you every single time, I'm like, I know that Benny's not going to see this and get offended because you're not stealing his jokes. You're not stealing a character. You just are a quirky, funny gay.
And I love him. I love him. So hopefully it's all out of love.
Personally, I don't think anybody would see Jake's video and be like, oh my God, he's totally stealing,
and
because he's still writing his own original stuff.
Things that might have bothered me even 2 or 3 months ago, I'm proud to say I'm like evolving, and it really doesn't bother me anymore because when I really think about it, I'm like, this is not going. It's another thing my dad said. You mentioned your dad twice today. I'm sorry. He's dead. It's okay. And I said,
dad.
yeah.
Sorry.
Stop bragging that you're an orphan.
I wish my dad was dead.
No, but it was like, what was I even saying? What would my dad
Your dad would always say.
She's like, what did my dad always say?
It's not going to change my lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not going to change. Someone isn't stealing the Coca-Cola sign from you,
formula.
and this was your home. You know what I mean? It's one little thing. You're not going to lose your house. You're not going to have to start driving a different car. But there's certain things that other people do that can be damaging to like your character, your brand, and it's like copywritten or whatever. And I say, go for that. But I do agree with like to go like after someone, might not be worth it.
I think we're trying to build like this common decency with creators where it's just like we're always going to cross paths with like originality, whatever that means. So hopefully we just create a culture of like giving the flowers when it's needed, when you're putting up a post saying like, this was a lot like this and I love them, but bam.
I do think it is, my opinion flips when it's a larger creator that steals from a smaller creator and doesn't give credit.
Oh yeah, that's worse. That's what I'm saying. That's like the punching up, punching down.
And there was I can't remember her name right now, but I was talking about it before we started, where she did like all these different people you meet on a movie set. So like the director, the producer, the makeup artist, the craft services. And she did that years ago. And all of a sudden, I guess like a month ago, this other large creator with millions of followers or a lot of followers, copied the exact same thing, shot for shot, even used the same song. And a lot of people were tagging the original creator, who this creator did not tag. And she was going through deleting all of their comments. And then the creator got wind of it because a lot of people had sent it to her. And she commented like, hey, a tag would be nice. Deleted her comment. So she did make a thing about it. And that I do agree with. I think that's
totally
justified.
agree.
Like,
and what could also be happening in a case like that is, and I think this has happened when stand-ups have been accused of stealing material or whatever. Like I remember I don't think I've mentioned this, but I think about the things I've
about your dad again.
Say it.
So when I worked on Keaton Every Wayne's late night talk show, he had a late night talk show as my first job. And I was 27, and he liked doing like evergreen monologues. So they weren't about politics or anything. They were just like, roommates, having a roommate, whatever. And someone would pitch something, or he would even come up with something funny. And the writers in the room would go, Keenan, that's really funny, but Joe Schmo has a bit like that. And he was like, cool, that's what you guys are here for. You're out in the clubs. You need to tell me, da-da-da-da. I don't want to know. And so when a bigger person is accused of it, and it's pretty much they did. I'm like, who was around her or him that didn't do their job, that might have been lazy, and also like say this bigger creator that took this idea. We don't know if she hired somebody who brought that as an idea.
Who said, hey, there's a fun trend you should do.
Or not even trend. I have a funny idea. Because they remembered it from 3 years back, and this girl or guy didn't. And then they're the ones also that are all like, holy fuck, I got caught. They're the ones who's actually in charge of deleting all the stuff. So I'm saying this person might be totally innocent.
Sure.
And they didn't deliberately steal anything, because a lot of people at that level are like, hey, I've got 2 or 3 people working with me. I want you guys to bring me ideas. I want you to tell me what the latest trend is. I want you to come up with fresh ideas for me.
100%.
And this has happened. I remember in, oh my gosh, I forgot his name, but he was a writer on SNL years ago, and he wrote a book about it. And he told a story of how he was desperate for pitching. He had to pitch ideas as a writer, actor on the show. And he just kind of remembered something from the clubs, and he pitched it, and it made it. And in the book, he absolutely like admits, it. And I remember reading it, and I was like, that's just something to be really conscious of, all of us.
Yeah.
And even sometimes when I say something like, and it's coming to my head and I'm talking about it, I'm like, I don't know where I saw this. I just know it isn't mine.
Right.
I know it's not mine, but I thought it was funny because I don't want anyone to say that I took something. Yeah. And lots of times I do give credit, but other times I don't, because if I'm talking for an hour.
How?
I mean, I don't want to stop. Yeah, but I don't want to act like I thought of it originally.
Yeah.
I there was a time, again, I think during the Trump administration, where like I was really into watching Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, and probably Jimmy Kimmel or something. And there had to have been 15 or more times where they posted basically the same joke on the same night because that piece of wordplay or whatever came in and the joke just came naturally. So I'm sure they're completely separate writing teams who weren't intentionally trying to steal anything from each other, made the exact same joke.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen anymore. So maybe they're a bit more intentional about it or try to go further removed from like the first thought of whatever punchline came naturally. But I saw that happen so many times and I was like, damn, this is so interesting.
Yeah, I think it's kind of I think as a creative person, you got to let that shit go.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I had Chris Frangiola, a comedian, on my show, and he said a really funny joke. And that night, Jimmy Kimmel or somebody said the same joke. Now, it could have been what you said.
Yeah.
Or someone could be listening to Juicy Scoop and they're getting ready that morning. Yeah. They go to the offices. They have to submit their jokes. They heard the topic. It's a hot topic. I mean, there were times when we would watch American Housewife or something. It was a sitcom. And my kids would and I would watch it. And there was stuff in there that was like straight out of my special. And I'm not necessarily accusing someone of that, but it was pretty specific. It was pretty specific jokes and things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I understand if you're a writer on a sitcom and it's about a family, I would be following female comics that have families.
Yeah.
I would be looking at really popular YouTube. You can't blame someone. And then, you know, it wasn't word for word, but it was like a concept, like a story I told that happened with my family. And then that same story was like displayed on the show. But I was like, who cares when you're going to file a lawsuit over? Like, no, you're just going to come up with something else. And it's better just to like let it go. But it is annoying when you see somebody come up with something that copied you and it has so much love and the comments are like, you're hilarious, you're so original. And you're like sitting in your apartment.
How did
and you're
you
like,
come up with this?
I came up with it
yes,
first.
Exactly.
But then if you make a big deal out of it, then they're like, the mean gays have become unhinged.
Right.
They're hysterical.
They're egotistical.
They're the
pieces of shit.
worst. Yeah. And, you know, they really are mean.
Yeah.
And then it's just better that you're like, yeah, I think you handle it really correctly. One last thing I want to do before we plug all your stuff.
Yeah.
Love.
I want the mean gays, not the real people in front of me, the mean gays, what you're going to say to each other as you enter the elevator after I say goodbye to you about what you experienced today.
Okay.
As the mean gays. So I will not take offense. Go for it.
So you saw as much pink as I did, right?
Yeah. And did you also smell the quinoa as soon as we walked in?
Yeah. And this like
really
Thai
strong.
sweet potatoes is just like was on our breath the whole time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And do you think she just like steps into every interview just that willy-nilly or?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like she prepared at all. Yeah. Also, her assistant seems miserable and probably isn't getting paid.
Yeah, I think it's child labor laws because it's her son.
It's her son.
Yeah, okay, so I was thinking this.
But I think there's a law, like if it's family, you don't have to pay them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really hire my family for stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, this is our car.
Yeah, it's our car. Here we go.
That was perfect. I love it. That was perfect.
The quinoa actually was the first sensation I had when we walked in, or whatever it was that you were eating.
I was eating a meal from Factor.
Yeah,
it is one of the sponsors of Juicy Scoop, and it was delicious.
It smelled good.
Oh,
it was all healthy. It was vegan.
Yeah,
and it took 2 minutes in the micro.
I love a vegan meal,
and I had a healthy meal.
There we go.
Juicy Soup sponsored by Factor.
Factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Get your first 50 meals for free on Heather, right? Is that
so? We have yours. It's J. Jake Jones EZZ.
Yeah, Jake Jones with the Z, no S.
And this is Instagram. And are you?
Yes, this is the same handle on both Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
I'm also trying to make it on YouTube, so we're crossing our fingers here.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, and you,
Aaron Goldie Boy in all the places. Instagram,
that's
Twitter,
cute
TikTok.
that you took Goldenberg and made it Goldie Boy.
A friend of mine in high
Retriever.
school used to call me Goldie, and I just thought it was cute and endearing. And
They called my brother-in-law, who's Goldstein, they call
Goldie?
him Goldie.
Oh,
yeah.
nice,
And so
nice.
then I'll call my nephew and stuff when he's playing tennis. I'm like, come on, Goldie.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when I was
So cute.
making a username, eventually when I decided to join Instagram, I was like, Goldie Boy. That's
Wow,
cute. Yeah.
look at that. And it's AARON.
That's correct.
Goldie Boy.
Goldie Boy.
That's it.
Wow. You guys are really killing it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And you were in The Grinch here in LA.
I mean, How the Grinch Stole Christmas at the Pantages.
What was your role?
I play Papa Who, Cindy Lou Who's
Daddy
dad.
who?
Daddy,
Oh.
Zaddy Who to you.
Zaddy who?
You are a zaddy?
Yeah. We're at the Pantages, which is a gorgeous theater. I'm
Yes.
sure you've been.
When's the last
at some
night of
point. The 17th here in LA.
Okay.
And then we go to Costa Mesa for a week, and then we close in Sacramento.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. You
And
go
then
to grinchmusical.com for tickets if you're interested.
Yes. And then what are you doing for the holidays?
I'm still doing content full time, and then I'm working on my first musical EP. So
That's what
Isn't
you're
that
doing on Christmas
exciting?
Eve?
That's
I said what you're doing for the holidays.
Oh, for the holidays. I have no plans. I've got the smallest family, and I think we're gonna play it really cool. We do something.
And your
on Christmas
family
Eve.
lives in the same
Atlanta.
area.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Oh my gosh.
We can
Well,
keep it
I love your friendship. I hope you don't break up and it get
Hey.
ugly.
You never know.
I wish you successful 2024.
Thank you.
You're welcome
You
to
as
come
well.
back anytime.
We would
Whenever
love-
we're
we
in
would
LA,
love-
we'll let you know.
I would love that. And also I would like to go out and
Yes.
like have a fun
Not working,
meal.
just like, yeah.
Have a fun meal and
that.
be bitches together.
Let's do it.
That
that
sounds
possible?
Anytime you want. I'm
hot
very,
and
very
cute.
down.
Yeah.
I love it. And you both are very cute and you both have wonderful skin.
Thank
There's
you.
not one hot, one ugly.
No, there's two glowing delights.
Yes.
She confirmed it.
She did. And I trust her.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Mwah.